What's up, guys? I'm Ethan from The Shed, and 2 days ago I picked up this Craftsman LT2000 off of Facebook Marketplace for 250 bucks. It runs and drives. Supposedly it has a power draw somewhere. I have not seen it to be losing any power after it has been sitting. But that won't really matter anyways, because I am planning on making it into a race/mud mower. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to be rewiring it, taking out all of the safeties, seat safety, clutch safety, all of that stuff. Off camera, I already took off all of the stuff for the mower deck, which is in this bucket right here. So, without further ado, let's dive into today's video. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the rear fenders and footrests so that I can get to the seat safety and the clutch safety. Okay, so what I have done so far is I have taken the seat safety, which was bypassed previously. I don't know if you can see that little connection there. I have taken the seat switch and taken it from back up here, under, through the frame rail, into the engine bay up here, where it hooked into the clutch safety and the PTO safety. And I've removed all of those, and I just have all of the safety buttons up here in a pile of wires. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go find a wiring diagram so that I know how to do this properly, because they all go to the ignition. And I'm not sure how to do that yet. How to make it not shut the tractor off when I remove them.
One eternity later.
I am now back. I found a diagram and a video that I will be looking at while removing all of the safety wiring. So it is time to dive into that. Okay, so I have gotten the wiring on this tractor figured out. The safety switch wires that were connected into this big jumbled mess of wiring were ground, accessory, and solenoid. So, you can tell that by, on the back of this ignition switch, you probably cannot see those, but there is, let me get the flashlight. Kind of hard to do this when you only have two hands. There is, right here, there's an A, which stands for accessory. On this side, over here, if I can get the ignition to stay like that, on this side there is a G, right here. That G, on that terminal, stands for ground. And then, finally, this white wire, going in the back here, right there, comes out to this terminal right here, which says S, standing for solenoid. So, my wires in here, I have, can't see it because of the flashlight glare, I have my white wire, which will go to the solenoid, my black wire, which has to go to the ground, and then my A wire, which is black, that is accessory. That's my accessory wire, which I can run off the ignition for my lights if I feel like it. I might not, and just do the lights battery hot, so that I can run them whenever, but it is always an option. So, let's get to wiring that. One thing I always like to do whenever I'm wiring something is, instead of using the crimp and shrinks, which they work fine, crimp and shrinks are okay, but they're not 100% waterproof, I like to get these little metal ones with that little tiny, I don't know if you can see it, that little slit in the middle. And what you do is, it takes slightly longer, but I find that they are more waterproof than the crimp and shrinks. You take and you get some solder, some flux, a crimper, and a little butane pencil torch. And you strip the wire, you solder it on, and then I have another box of shrink tubing, which I will put over it. And I find that it is a little more waterproof than the other stuff. Actually, in my kit of stuff that I use, I do not have a ring terminal for a small wire like this that will fit around this bolt. So I am going to run to my father and uncle's shop next door, and I'm going to get one. I will see you when I get back. I am back, and I have gotten a ring terminal that will fit that wire and that bolt. So now it is time to solder it on. What you gotta do is you gotta dip the wire in the flux. It's like a paste. And then do not forget to put your shrink tube on before you crimp and solder it. I have forgotten to put shrink tube on a lot of times, and then I have to go back and I have to cut it off, cut the terminal off, and re-crimp and re-solder so that I can put some shrink tube on, because the shrink tubing will not fit over the ring terminal. As you can see right there, I almost just forgot to put the shrink tubing on after I just set it. And you just crimp it. I like to do it on both sides. They say that you only have to do it on the side that the little split in it is not on, but I like to do it on both. That way I get a better crimp. And I just hold it, and where did my torch go? You heat it with the torch until the metal changes color, and then you can put your solder down on top of it, and you're all good. Right like that. Then you take and you slide up your shrink tube, put it over it, shrink it all down, and now you're good. Now it's time to bolt this all down and see if it works. Perfect. That is all bolted down. I'm just going to slide my fuel tank back in place. And let's see. Oh. The battery is sitting on top of the transmission pulley. And as you can see, it works. I did not have the choke or throttle on, so it did not stay running for a long time. Now that we know that it works, we can be done with this part of the wiring. All of the safeties are now removed off of this tractor. I do not have to push the clutch to start it. The seat does not have to be, the seat switch doesn't have to be pressed for it to run, start, and it won't shut off when you get off the seat without locking the clutch/brake in place. that is all the time that I have for this video. Next video, I am not 100% sure what I will be doing, but what I have left to do is I want to mount a horn on this somewhere. I have a horn from a Chevy C60 that is going to sound awesome on this mower. I'm thinking of putting it on one of these brackets, one of those in there. I am planning on putting a light bar or some sort of LED lights on the front of this mower. I am planning on putting a cooler sounding exhaust on it. I have the exhaust ordered, but it has not come in yet. And then a foot throttle. And the last thing is, obviously, to make it go fast, a smaller transmission pulley. I have a 3-inch pulley that I ordered off of Amazon that should be in soon, probably by this weekend. And then I can install that. I want to weld the diff on the back so that both tires will spin instead of just one and the other partial. And then, after all of that is done, the mower will probably be complete at that point. So, I will see you on the next video.